Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us at this hour and for taking the time to be with us today. We are delighted to have all of you here who are interested in Masters of Business Laws from the National Law School, Bengaluru. I am Anjita and I work with the PACE department. Along with me is my colleague Sushila Hegde. And we are very pleased to have with us our faculty team, Dr. Saurabh Bhattacharjee and Dr. Betsy Rajasingh with us today. Let me take a moment to briefly introduce them to you. Dr. Saurabh Bhattacharjee is our registrar and associate professor of law at NLS. He is also the co-director for Center for Labor Studies here. Professor Saurabh is an alumnus of NALSAR and the University of Michigan Law School. Before joining us at NLSIU, he was teaching at NUJS, Kolkata. It's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Along with Dr. Saurabh, we also have Dr. Betsy Rajasingh today for this webinar. Dr. Betsy is Assistant Professor of Law and is the Co-Director for Center for IP Research and Advocacy. Before coming to academia, Dr. Betsy was working with an intellectual boutique firm in Singapore. She has also published a book, Digital Copyright Law, a comparative study of the limitations and the exceptions relating to education. Welcome, Dr. Betsy. Now, before we hand over the session to our professors, let's look at the flow for this session. Dr. Saurabh and Dr. Betsy will introduce this program to all of you, and then we can get into the QA session. We will request our professors to take up subject-related questions, while Sushila and I will address program-related admissions and other questions. We will take the questions in the order in which the hands are raised. So we request you to raise your hand, unmute yourself, and ask the questions. We completely understand that we may not be able to address every question. Please post your question in the chat. We will take up the question that remain unanswered and send you a response by email after the session. And with that, I request Dr. Saurabh and Dr. Betsy to start. So over to you, professors.
Thank you, Anjita. And on behalf of the National Law School and particularly the PACE program, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us in the webinar and welcome you to this session. And we hope that we can look forward to as many of you in the MBL program going ahead. Now, I have taught at the National Law School MBL program for last 5 years, so I can speak quite a bit about the experience as a faculty, of course, but also the kind of review and feedback that we have got from some of the students who have been part of the cohorts in the recent years. Now, the first thing that we must recognize is that in today's age of very fast changing regulatory environment, knowledge of business laws is almost an essential skill that any business manager, entrepreneur, or an executive must have. And whether it's in drafting contracts, whether it's in negotiating with clients, or in planning and taking managerial decisions, all of us have to keep in mind a range of regulatory compliance related norms. And given that the cost of not having a basic understanding of law can be fairly severe for those who are running businesses or those who are seeking to set up businesses or involved in various operational tasks in any business environment. And that's the context in which I believe that the Master of Business Laws program becomes a bridge between law and the business side of managing any large organization, no matter what's the nature of the business. It may be technology related, it could be entertainment related, or in the good old fashion, and I'm not using the term as a slight at all, for construction work or some of the other more traditional industries, and basic knowledge of law and business certainly is valuable. And the question that we need to talk about is, what is that the Master of Business Laws at National Law School brings in? And the first thing that I'd like to highlight, without any sense of false modesty, is that National Law School has been the #1 law school for several years now. If you look at the NIRF ranking, we have been #1 since the inception of the law category within NIRF. But beyond rankings, we have brought in a culture of excellence and rigor, both within faculty and in the ways in which classrooms are taught, that can bring in special exposure and learning for students, which not many of the other peers can provide. And the Master of Business Laws has been one of the early programs at National Law School. It was introduced in 1994 at a time when I was still in high school, and in a very different format, of course. But we have been able to establish this program as one of the leading programs in the field and has a very rich legacy. Many of our alums have been are now part of top leadership in many, many major organizations. But beyond that, the program itself has been designed in a very comprehensive manner. You will later hear about the specific subjects, but we have tried to give you a 360-degree account of running businesses from the basic courses like contract or corporate laws. We also have certain regulatory laws like labor laws and environment, which at the first glance many may not think of as part of business laws, but in any engagement with running a business, a fundamental knowledge of labor laws and environmental laws, or in today's age, international commercial transactions become very critical. Same goes with intellectual property rights. So, what we have tried to do over the years is to update the curriculum, but also ensure that the curriculum is fairly comprehensive. But most importantly, it's also designed in such a manner that it allows you to learn basic legal skills that may be relevant for decision making in the business world. And I must highlight the fact that in the way in we approach this MBL program is very different from how we may approach a class for an undergraduate 18, 19-year olds when they study contract law or when they study property law or corporate law for that matter. And this has a particular professional orientation. But at the same time, we've also tried to ensure that you have exposure from leaders in the business world. And later, when we speak about the structure of the program, we'll also talk about master classes where we invite industry experts to come and address the students. But we have also made the program in such a way that graduates from any discipline can apply. So you don't need to have a law degree. In fact, the primary constituency that we may be looking at are people who may not even have a law degree. So the program is structured and designed in a manner that's accessible for students and professionals from any background as long as they have a graduate degree. And even when professors speak to students, when we start the course, we'll be talking about what kind of learning materials, what kind of resources can be used. And of course, some of those may vary between students who already have a law background and those who don't. But nonetheless, the way we have designed it is in such a manner that it's accessible, but also that it's relevant for multiple different cohort. We call it a Master of Business Laws program, but it does not mean that it's only limited to business executives. It can be useful for lawyers who are acting as in-house counsels. It can be relevant for independent professionals, which may include independent lawyers practicing as litigators, but also other professionals. It may be very relevant for entrepreneurs who are thinking of setting up businesses. And as we have seen over the years, many of our students are actually officers from various public sector establishments. And this program becomes an integral way for them to upskill themselves and grow in their professional pathways. And then we've also had many students from different disciplines who have completed their graduate degree and now looking at public policy, looking at management, looking at other fields, and simultaneously pursuing this program to expand their skill sets. And what we have done is to exercise care and judgment in making our program, the course curriculum, the materials that we use, the teaching methods that we rely on, as flexible and accessible as possible, without at the same time compromising on rigor. What NLS has been in these 40 years of its existence has been made through its commitment to academic excellence and rigor. So the flexibility and accessibility that we speak about will not be at the cost of fundamental academic standards. and a certain degree of rigor and depth that we will offer you within the mm, framework of a hybrid online program. And the most important thing that I'd like to highlight is that this is a program that's taught in an online mode over weekends. You would have around 16 weekends or so in the year that you need to devote for this program, along with office hours, which may be during the midweek evenings, much like this webinar. And sitting at your home while managing your work, you can do this program. So it allows, no matter which part of the country you are from, if you have that time to take out during the weekend and do the basic exercises and readings, you should be able to complete this program very much sitting at your home or sitting at your desk in your office without having to travel to Bangalore. We have exams which are done in a physical mode, and I'm sure the PACE team will talk about that. We have few centers around the country, but other than that, all the learning and teaching can very much happen through your home. And at the same time, the hybrid format, we have tried to design and make it as interactive and inclusive as possible so that you have direct interaction with faculty. And office hours and the consultation through the office hours are a very integral part of it. So, my sense as a teacher in the last 5 years in this program has been that it's not just the regular classes, those who have participated in the office hours in a very enthusiastic manner and regular manner, most importantly, have actually partaken the most from the offerings that we have in this program. And lastly, before I end, I'd like to focus on the element of cross learning that happens between the cohorts. I think the biggest USP of this program is that we attract students from so many different backgrounds that there's considerable learning that happens between the peers, networking skills that you develop through interaction with people in top organizations, people in public sector organizations, law firms, businesses, and very diverse field. And each year I'm impressed with the different backgrounds that people come from. And I think you learn as much from the faculty as you will learn from your peers through the program, through the 16 weeks of which the course is taught. So with that, I'll end my address and invite Professor Betsy to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Professor Saurabh. Uh, Professor Saurabh has covered pretty much comprehensively uh, an introduction of the program as well as its USP. I will just run you briefly through the program structure as well as some important dates and timelines relating to the application process. So in terms of program structure, now this detail is very much available on the website as well. The courses that are being taught as part of the MBL program. So you have year one when 5 courses are taught, and then year two when another 5 courses are taught. And as Professor Saurabh mentioned, this MBL program is offered also to non-law graduates. So graduate from any discipline can apply. So how are you going to learn law courses if you're a non-law graduate? We also have a bridge course for that purpose, which introduces you to a law and legal system. Now, this is an optional course that you can attend. It's not going to be a course where you're marked, but you can definitely attend it to understand basic concepts relating to law, which will help you better understand the courses that you will study in the first and second year of your MPL program. Now, rather than focusing on what each of these subjects are, because this information is very much available in the information video that's been published on the website as well. What I would like to speak in terms of the program structure and what its USP is the fact that who teaches you and what they teach you. This pretty much overlaps on what Professor Saurabh has initially mentioned as well. You must be aware that the National Law School is one of the top law schools, not one of the, it is the top law school in the country, and it's been consistently ranked number one for quite a few years. And therefore, who teaches you matters a lot. And in terms of who's going to be your faculty. It is NLS faculty who are highly qualified as and seasoned academicians. For instance, as Professor Saurabh mentioned, he teaches the labor law course in year one, and you have many other analysts academics as well who are going to directly engage with you and teach you these courses. Now, apart from faculty, we are also having practitioners, legal practitioners who offer a couple of courses in the MBL program, and they're going to bring in practical insights as well, which are very relevant in the business sector. So, apart from who teaches you, it's also a matter of what they teach you, right? Now, considering that we are a high caliber of faculty at NLS, the course material is curated very carefully, where meticulously research goes into framing the course outline, and it is planned in session-wise readings. So, as Professor Saurabh mentioned, through this academic year, you will be engaging with faculty over 16 sessions. So the reading plan is built in such a way where session-wise readings are allocated to you, so you can plan your weekly readings. And these materials are mostly, or rather they are updated, and they will give you a very solid foundation of legal concepts as well as how they practically apply in the real world. And these readings are available on our learning management system, so you could access them at any time and read at your own pace. But at the same time, it will be very useful for you. And this is something that we tell our students on campus as well. Always please read ahead of the sessions because it's going to be very useful for you to engage with the faculty as well. So right at the beginning of the academic year, all of the course outlines for each of the courses in the first year will be made available to you. And these are, as I said, carefully curated readings that give you a comprehensive understanding of each of the subjects that you will be learning in the MBL program. So, as initially mentioned, there will be live online sessions, and I would highly recommend you to join these sessions because, as Professor Saurabh mentioned, it's not just a one-way lecture that happens in these sessions, but a lot of peer learning happens as well because most of the cohort are not just fresh graduates, but they're also professionals who are already um, in the field and will be able to bring in a lot of real world examples as well as inputs which enhance the entire learning experience. So this happens, that is the classes happens once every fortnight. So every month you will be taking 2 sessions for each course, and these are 2-hour sessions for each course. And this happens usually on the weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays will be your classes. And as I said, I would highly recommend you to attend these sessions. But if you're not able to do so, you can still access the recordings that will be available on the learning management system. So you can access them anytime over the academic year and tune in and listen to the lectures as well. Now, apart from the sessions, you also have an opportunity to engage with the faculty in office hours. And I can say I've taught the MBL program as well as the PGDIP program for IPR. And MBL program is one program where the office hours, though it is mentioned as 1 hour, it usually runs for more than 1 hour because students are highly enthusiastic. They join in and have a lot of questions. And through these questions, it's not just their questions are being answered, but you can tune in and listen to the questions as well and ask your own questions. So it's a very, very highly engaging office hour that happens for the MBL program. And I would highly recommend that those of you who join, and I hope that you join the program as well, that you attend the office hours. And so this happens once a month and usually between 5 to 8 p.m. on work days. This is to accommodate people who might be working as well. Now, moving on to the important dates. Now, the deadline for application, I understand that many of you who have joined today's session have already enrolled for the program, but there are quite a few enthusiasts as well. So I would again highlight that the deadline is 31st August 2026. So please do submit your applications before the official deadline. And in terms of classes, will commence in September and they will run up to May next year. And the final examination will be in the month of June. So for more information, you can definitely log into our website, where you have details about the MBL program, as well as if you have any clarifications, you can contact the PACE email as well, where your clarifications will be answered.